Welcome back again to Substance with Dalapo. I am Dalapo Awishika. Substance with Dalapo is where we connect. I connect with people of substance. Now, what do I want to talk about today? I'm just going to go right into it today because it's something that I think I've had issues with it. I've not been able to manage it, and I think it's something that we need to pay a little bit more attention to. Guess what I'm going to talk about today under the segment of home management? It is the necessary evil that we all need but don't know how to manage. Domestic staff. Yes, we all need them one way or the other, because if you're a career woman, or you get married, or you have things that you have to run up to, you have to have these people. Domestic staff. Now, who are domestic staff? Domestic staff range from your driver, your house help, your gardener, your cleaner as well. And we've read so many things, especially on the social media, of how these people have become savages. I don't know what to call them, where they're not, we get them, bring them into our homes, total stranger, we don't know their background, they know a lot of things about us. Your staff knows what you eat, where you go, who you meet, what you do. We don't know anything about them apart from a 5-10 minutes interview that we give to them when they come into our homes. And I think we are taking a lot for granted. A lot is happening in our country, Nigeria, right now. There's recession, there's still money, people are hungry, people are dying, and this staff, they're not willing or ready to serve anyone anymore. I think I've heard somewhere where they said God made man, man made slaves. Believe me, what I want you to understand is nobody wants to slave for anyone. Nobody wants to serve anyone. There's a difference between a servant and a slave. A slave has no choice. What you have in your houses are servants, and servants, they come to you, they work for you, and they want money in return. And you have to understand one thing, that when you bring them into your house, number one, sometimes I think we expect too much from them. Take, for example, a new mother gives birth to a child, or a newly married couple or something, and they give birth to a child, and then you get a domestic staff, which is what we all do, and then you expect the domestic staff to look after your child. Children mirror their parents, especially in their early years, and if you allow your child to bond with your staff that you do not know their background, what your child is going to exhibit or show or display is what they have learned from your staff. For example, I had my daughter in England and I brought her back to Nigeria. Then I found out later that my daughter, when she wants to say water, she says water. And I didn't understand why she was saying water. Then I heard one of my domestic staff say water, and I understood that, oh, this is where the girl picked it up from. And I had to do a lot of work to get her to turn around and not speak like that anymore. So what we need to understand is, the first thing that needs to come into your mind is, do you really need a domestic staff? I think you get to a point where when your children are old enough, you can get someone to come in and out of the house, a cleaner, and then if you do have to go away, get a family member to come and stay with them. And if you do have to have a domestic staff stay over, make sure that it's someone that you've checked properly and someone that you trust. Some people say, well, the longer you have them, the more you can trust them. No, I don't come from that school of thought. What I believe is 1 year is the maximum I can keep a domestic staff. You have to go. When they stay with you for more than a year, sometimes I've seen some domestic staff that lived with people for 5-6 years. Believe me, they are the ones that can do you the worst damage that you can think of, because by this time you would have relaxed. You trust them, they know everything about you. So I think we need to take that into consideration as well, and also understand that it is circumstances that has made these people come into your home to come and slave or work for you, and it is not because they really want to do it. That's one thing that we have to understand. Some of us take advantage of this and expect too much from them. You get a young girl of 18, 20, 23, 24 who's never had a child, and then you give a newborn baby to the girl, and then the girl makes mistake, the girl doesn't know what to do, and then you get upset and say the girl is not good. Now who's been foolish and who's been silly? You can't get blood from stone. If she's never had a child before, of course she's not going to know how to look after your child. That's number one. Then number two, most of these girls, I'm talking girls now because I find that they're the ones that you find are frequent in and out of our houses, because you can have a gardener for yours. You don't have a lot of interaction with your gardener. Gardener tenders to your plants. Your plants don't speak. As long as they grow, you wouldn't have any problem with the gardener. But when it comes to the people that actually live with us in our homes and have access to our children as well, we have to be extremely vigilant, and we have to check and make sure that these people are of the right breed, if not up to a standard, but at least have the basics that is important for them to be able to interact with our children. That's another thing to look at. Now, I'm sure there are loads of you that would want to send emails or inbox me later on to share your experiences with me, and I'm sure that at the same time, we can't do without them. We need them. And I find what we need to concentrate on is how do we manage them? And what do we need to do so that they're happy and we're happy? For example, you get a staff who's on maybe 20,000 naira a month. I don't know how they cope. I don't know how they do it, but that's what you pay them. They work for you 24 hours, something that is not allowed in the UK. This domestic staff work for us 24 hours. When I say 24 hours, because if they live in your house, you have access to them. You can call them at 2 a.m. in the morning and send them on errands. And then you still expect them to wake up early in the morning to do their daily duties or whatever it is you've asked them to do. And then you pay them 20,000. Then you take them out on a Sunday with your children to go have dinner somewhere, maybe a Chinese restaurant. And in their presence, you have spent 40,000 naira on food, and you want them to like you? Let us be real. I think it's time we're real. Of course they're not going to like you, because they're spending what? 24 hours a day times 30. Sorry, my math is not very good. Imagine the hours that is spent to earn that peanut from you, and then you spend that money at a go. Not only that, I take my daughter to the salon to do her hair, and most of the time when I do, maybe sometimes it's 3K, 4K, 5K, I will never pay that amount in front of my staff, because my staff is going to be envious of my daughter. She earns 20,000 in a month. A little child is spending 5,000 naira to fix her hair. What do you think is going to happen? There are so many ways where we tempt these people, we goad them without meaning to, and we're the ones that create these little monsters in our house, and then we wonder when they turn around and begin to bite us. Also, one of the other things that I find that some of us do is you come home with a lot of money. You discuss carelessly on the phone with your domestic staff within hearing. And sometimes we count money in front of them. Maybe one of them, maybe their parents, maybe their uncle, maybe their sister is sick at home, and all they're looking for is 15K, and then you let them see that you have about 200,000 in the house, and you leave it carelessly, and then they steal it and you get upset. Some people don't steal because they're thieves, they steal because of circumstances. So one thing what I think we need to try and concentrate is we need to check ourselves. Yes, they're bad. Yes, they're the ones that are kidnapping. Yes, they're stealing. Yes, some of them have spiritual implication that I don't even want to go in, but let's stop there and let's check ourselves first. What are we doing right? Are we being fair to these people? I think domestic staff should actually be on some kind of shift, because they have to rest. It's not easy cleaning your toilet, washing your bathroom, washing your clothes, standing in your kitchen for hours on end, and you expect the person to be happy. We are kidding ourselves if you think those people like you. They don't like us because we enslave them. They are doing their jobs or whatever it is that they're doing because they have no choice. So we have to find a meeting point where when you have a domestic staff, you need to be considerate and remember that person is someone else's child. And don't just think because I paid the person has to do this. I have seen madams that they would keep their staff up till 2 a.m. in the morning and still expect the staff to get up at 4:30 in the morning for 20,000 naira a month. I don't think that's fair. I'm not judging the people that do this, but I just think one thing we have to all remember is these people are humans, and you have to be careful how you deal with them because they have access to you. I always say 3 people that you don't joke with, and I don't joke with: my nanny, my driver, and my cook. These are the 3 people that my life is in their hand. My cook can poison me, he gives me food. My nanny can harm my children, and my driver can plan for me. So those 3 people, believe me, you can be nasty to your gardener, be nasty to your cleaner, but those 3 people, you do not joke with them. It doesn't take a twinkle of an eyelid for them to think negative and plan horrible. Most of the kidnapping that we have in our country today, all those things, where did the kidnappers get the information from? An aggrieved domestic staff? The domestic staff that you haven't treated well. Some of them you can be nice to them. For me, everyone around me knows me. I mean, I for one, I try as much as possible to treat these people like human beings, but you know what, some of them don't even understand what love is. So some of them, unless you're backing them or you're beating them, you don't love them, but then they're damaged from where they're coming from. But one thing I remain and I stand on and I believe in it, I will continue to be good to them, because as long as I'm good to them, no matter what evil plans or evil thoughts go through their head, God will deliver me. Let me just say it like that, because it's not me that can do it myself. And then also, the sources of this domestic staff, where do they come from? Sometimes we get them through word of mouth, we get them through friends and family. We just bring them into our homes without even checking them out. Some of us employ them out of desperation. That's what we do. But really and honestly, what we need to go back and think of is, these people are necessary. Yes, they're evil, but they are necessary. But then, are we doing the right thing as well? There is no point asking a doctor to make you a costume. If what they don't know, they don't know. So if you want them to know anything, I think you should take your time to try and train them. And if you cannot train them, then don't expect from them. And also, what about shift? Like I said, do they work do they start at a particular time and finish at a particular time, and then they take a break and then come back to work? Or is this just round the clock? And they're so tired and you keep beating them like a donkey, and they're tired, and when they don't do what they're doing properly, you get more upset with them and they just have to take it. These are the things that I think breeds the hatred. And I would tell you one thing: don't ever get yourself into this notion where you think your domestic staff loves you. Now, your domestic staff does not love you. Your domestic staff is working with you. It doesn't matter what you do for them. Believe me, when someone comes to you to offer you or to carry out or perform certain tasks and duties in your life and you're paying them, it is not a love relationship. Love is when you do it for free and you're not expecting anything in return. These people are expecting things in return, so don't ever get carried away. You can build a house for them, you can buy cars for them, you can send them to school. You see that their money, which I've found, that their menial salary, take out 1 naira from it and you will see the other side of this, because that is what they believe in and that's what they live for as well. Then also, another thing that I would also like us to also take into consideration as well is the background of these people. It is very, very, very important. We stereotype a lot in Nigeria. Oh, I don't like Yoruba girls because they're this. I don't like Hausa girls because they're this. I don't like these people because they're this. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's about the tribe or where they come from. Yes, they may have peculiarities. I don't know about that. But I still think what is important is to decide what it is you want or need a domestic staff for, and then decide whether the person or the domestic staff you want to employ has the experience, something that I don't think we consider in this country. We just say, yes, small girl that will not be rude, or small girl that I can talk to, that will listen to me. It's not about that, because that small girl will grow in your service, and that small girl will learn a lot as well, and they will pick up information around, and they will use it to their own benefit. So it's not about that. What you need to ask yourself is, Is it fit for the purpose? If you want someone to look after a baby, get someone that has had experience looking after children or is exposed to handling children. Don't get a child to look after a child. I've had someone bring me a house girl who was about 16, but the lie that she was 21. My son was taller than her. She couldn't even bathe. I had to bathe her. She couldn't bathe herself properly. But some people will keep, the woman the brother said, okay, keep her, madam. They're the good ones, because when you keep them, they grow up with you, they will know your way and they will not run away. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's unfair. I wouldn't want my child slaving away for anyone. And if I have a child in my care, I would rather look after the child, help the child, and send the child off or back to their parents. That's another thing. One other thing I want to also look at is the way we speak to these people. We get carried away. In our busy schedule where we're running up and down, and everything, we forget that these people are human beings as well. And sometimes we snap at them. Now, there is nothing wrong with snapping. I, for one, I speak my mind. I don't believe in hiding anything. If they go wrong, I tell them right on the spot. But immediately, I tell them off. I'm looking for ways to make them understand that I haven't said it to them because they're not my children. I've said it to them to better their life and to correct them. And that's where we lose focus, because when you tell someone off in a nasty way, if I think it's in the Bible where it says you beat the child with left hand or right hand, and then you beg the child. I don't really know how to say it. But when you tell them off or in the process of trying to correct them, do not belittle them. Do not speak to them in a demeaning manner. Do not degrade them. They're human beings. I'm saying all this because they are necessary evil that we need. And I think rather than for the trend to continue where we treat those people anyhow and they cause us so much damage, I think we need to check ourselves and begin to ask ourselves whether we are doing the right thing and we are on the right course as well, so that if we do need these people, let them feel like human beings sometimes. Sometimes take them out. You don't really have to take them out, but at least help them. Now, having said that also, there are some of them who are just out to destroy. They are just out to destroy. They come into your homes with pre-planned motive of stealing, maiming, whatever it is that they plan to do. Some of them even come with spiritual nonsense that one cannot even begin to understand, talk less of explaining. But what I believe is, if you're vigilant enough, if you're calm enough, if you're purposeful enough, if you understand what you're looking for, and you take your time, I think you will get the right person, as long as you treat them right and leave the rest to God. Whoever has any evil plan concerning you they will never succeed. But you can be horrible to someone and wonder why they were able to give information to kidnappers about you, and God allowed it to happen. Because I would say God allowed it to happen because perhaps if you were nicer, maybe someone would have exposed them. So, like I said, to round up, what I really want you to understand is domestic staff, you need them. Especially at this particular topic, I want those ones that have just gotten married. They're the ones I really want, and I do hope that you share it and you call people's attention to. They're the ones that I really need to sit down and for them to focus and understand the risk that it take when they bring these girls into their homes, or this domestic staff. I've seen domestic staff destroy marriages. I've seen them pull mother and child apart. Some of them are evil and some of them are horrible. At the same time, some of them are good. But one thing we have to remember is, once you decide to take that risk of bringing a total stranger into your home, you cannot go to bed with your door open. You have to have eyes at the back of your head and understand that that person is there because of what you offer them and not because they actually care about you. Like I said, I've had good experiences, I've had bad experiences. I believe I've had the scariest experience I can't actually even think of. I can't even say it. But what I want you to take away from this program today is, yes, we shout they're evil, they're bad, they're nasty, they do this. Really, time to check ourselves. Check yourself. Are you doing the right thing? Check yourself. Are you expecting more than you should expect? Check yourself. These people are human beings as well. And check yourself. Is domestic staff something that you really need, or is it out of laziness? Look, I lived abroad for a very long time, and there was really I didn't really have that much stuff, and I got everything done. And I find that in Nigeria it's a trend thing. You have to have house girls, you have to have drivers, you have to have, yes, they're necessary because you need to move around and you need them, but sometimes I think as the children grow up, even for the sake of your own children as well, Let go if you don't need them. If you need them to come in, let them come in so that your children can learn to cook, to clean, to do things for themselves. You find that a lot of these kids can't even set their shoes right. They can't even iron their own clothes. And we spend a lot of money to send them to good school. And at the end of the day, what is the point if they can't look after themselves because you've had staff looking after them all through their lives? And this staff, remember, are children from another person, or daughters and sons from another group of people. So you find that no matter what it is, yes, it might sound like a very mundane, small, irrelevant thing, but believe me, one of the major problems we have in this country right now is the fact that we don't think deep. We don't think of the future, and we don't caution ourselves in the course of our actions. You're using someone else's child as a slave in a country where there's hunger, and you expect love to reign in this country. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And then we have this idea of most of the staff you find as well. This is something I want to mention before I round up. Most of the staff as well, after a while, I don't know whether anyone has noticed, they begin to feel like they are indispensable. They start acting like they're doing you a favor. You know why? I don't blame them. It's because you give that impression that you can't do anything without them. If you can't cook without them, you can't clean without them, you can't manage anything without them. I think we need to get back into that routine of looking after our things ourselves, after our homes ourselves, after your husband yourself, after your children yourself. Yes, I have staff, but I still wake up every day to make sure that my kids brush their teeth, that they have their bath, and I still oversee everything. In fact, I really don't let people cook for me. I like to cook. Yeah, I may not do all the prepping and everything, but I still cook. To all those other women out there who think being a madam is not lifting a finger, believe me, not only are you destroying your home, but you are damaging your children. Time to ask yourself whether you really need that stuff. Really, and if you do need that stuff, time to ask yourself whether the duties that you have given them are not things that your children can do. They are the necessary evil. We need them, I understand, but we need to ask ourselves, are we treating them right? That's the question I want you to take away from this topic today. Till next time, don't forget, it's Dolapo Awoshika on Substance with Dolapo, and I do hope that you join me next time, where I'll be touching, talking, treating some other interesting topic. As the Spirit leads me, don't forget, check yourself. Do you really need a domestic staff? And if you do need them, are you treating them right? And then if you do have them as well, where do you get them from? And then how much of your life are you exposing to these people? Keep that thought in mind. Till next time, take care.